Hello YouTube, or should I say konnichiwa YouTube? This video is a special request from one of my subscribers in Japan, and in this video we're going to cover all the basics of HTML, CSS, and we'll be doing that using the brackets text editor. Now before we go anywhere further in this video, I just want to say to everybody watching in Japan, the first line is supposed to say hello or hi. The second line is supposed to say, I hope you're doing well. And the third line is supposed to say, sorry that my Japanese really suck, or suck in general. Hopefully my Japanese gets better throughout this video. If it doesn't, I hope that nobody is offended by it. Now, because I don't want to make this video like 3 hours long and boring and all that, let's just quickly cut to the chase. What is HTML? HTML is the backbone of the internet. And why it is like that? Because if you ever visited a website, it was built on a structure of HTML. So you can think of HTML as a frame for the house. So if you ever wanted to build a house, you would need to have a structure. You would need to have a frame. That is HTML. Now the second thing is CSS. And CSS stands for cascading style sheets. So let's say you already have the house, but you want to add some style to it, some zing to it. That is CSS. That adds the color, that adds the appearance, and overall just helps your house look better. So CSS on a website works the same way. So let's say you wanted the paragraph to be blue, or you want your fonts a different way, or you want the image to appear with a padding or a background and all that good stuff. So that is CSS. Now the third thing is, if you want to work with any of them, any of those languages, you would need to have a text editor. You cannot do it without it. So you can have a choice of some boring text editors like Notepad++ or Notepad, but we're going to work with brackets because I just think it's a little bit more exciting. And a couple of things about brackets, why I like it so much: because it's free, because it works on Windows and Mac. It is very beginner friendly and has a attractive interface. And some of the features that I like are live preview and code hints. Now you will gonna need Google Chrome if you want to use brackets, because that comes as a default web browser. So you need to download that first. But let's imagine that you already have the Google Chrome. So let's just jump to Google, and we're going to write over here brackets, and I have a logo here, which is weird, but so you write brackets, and you right away see that the first thing pops up is brackets.io. So you just go over here, and it's very straightforward. Just go over here and click download brackets. Now that we're in a website, all we have to do is click download, and you can see that it's right away starts downloading. And once we have this screen, we basically can right away move to our brackets, to our apps. And the moment we have brackets on our application, so we can start typing away in our brackets text editor. Now let's go to our launchpad and just open up brackets. And it says here, yes, would you like to open? You click yes, would want to open. And now we have the brackets health report, which is, we just click here, it's fine. And now we have the main index file. Now before we want to do anything with the brackets, what we would need to do is over here in our desktop, which is going to be the easiest place, we're just going to open a new folder. And in this case, I'm just going to call this this folder, I'm just going to call it brackets. So we can write it here. We can write brackets. And what we can always do, we can just click here, the folder, and as you can see, it automatically brings it over here. And now that we have the brackets folder, you can see that nice things about brackets is basically it's telling you all the files that you have over here. So let's just maximize the screen. And what we can always do is we can right click it and we want to create a new file. Now, as you can see that I'm working, I'm in this column, it pretty much says that I'm going to be working in a brackets folder. The brackets folder that I just created. So if I minimize this, and you can see that I have the brackets folder, and I have all the files that I can right away create in brackets that are going to be saving in here. As we go along with this video, you'll see why I'm doing this, but just stick with me of the reasoning for that. So the first thing that we want to do is, as we're saving the file, we would want to save the file, and we would want to save as index.html. So we click over here, and now we can see that we have the file index.html. Now the reason why I'm saving the first file as index.html, that this by default is the main file where wherever the web browser is going to search for. Let's say you have website and you have tens and whatever, hundreds of pages. So index.html is always going to be as your main page. So you always need to create a one page that is index.html, and in reality that's going to be your home page. Now, about HTML. If you learn just one thing from this video and you just stick with that, that is the fact that HTML is made out of tags. If you want to add anything to your website, let's say it's a picture, or it's a video, or it's a heading, or it's a paragraph, I mean, you name it, you would need to create tags. So each thing that you would want to add to your website would have the element, and element would consist of two tags. So let's say I would want to write would want to have a paragraph on my website. So I would need to create a paragraph element, and the paragraph element would consist of opening tag, which one is over here, this one, and let me just zoom in so you can see better. And it would consist of the closing tag, which is this one. And the difference between opening and closing tag is that the closing tag would have a slash. And now whenever you write inside here is going to be displayed on your page. Not the actual tags, but whatever you put in between those tags. So let's have a look. Let's say the standard procedure or syntax would be, so I would write the bracket, then I would write a tag name, so whatever that is going to be the name of my element, and then I have a closing tag. So for video, for a heading, for paragraph, for anything, you would have to create this. So this is pretty much the most important thing you would need to know from HTML. Everything else is going to be straightforward. Hey, I need an element. Okay, I was just going to create that element with the tags. Now, there are some elements, like let's say image, who only have the one tag, and they're called empty elements. So what would you need to do here is you would need to write some attributes over here for the image, and I'm gonna cover that and explain that a little bit later. But just for now, there's two types of elements: some that require a double tag, opening and closing, and some that are called empty and only require one tag. Now, another thing that I want to cover right away in this beginning of this video is the basic structure of HTML. Now that we know that we need to add tags to our website, we also need to learn the basic structure of each and every website on using HTML. So the first thing that you would always need to write is a tag that is actually called doctype tab, and you write it like here. You write doctype HTML, and let me maybe zoom in even more. And what this specific tag pretty much tells the browser what type of HTML you're using. So you don't need to worry about this tag. It is actually not part of HTML tags. It's just pretty much what it does. It tells the browser, hey, listen, I'm using the HTML version, let's say number 5, or I'm using the HTML version number 4. Now, the newest version is HTML 5. So what you need to know is that pretty much the moment you write here HTML, it understands from now on that whatever the newest version of HTML is around, that's the HTML we're using. So don't worry about this tag, just add it this way and you'll be fine. Now, the next thing you would know is that from, if you're looking at the website, it actually consists of 2 more things. And it's going to be wrapped all in HTML tags. So you create these HTML tags, and what these HTML tags are basically a wrapper for your whole website. So whatever I'm going to be putting within my website is going to go in between these tags. Now, another thing that you would need to create is a heading tag and a body tag. So head tag over here, and we're also going to create a body tag over here. So the head tag is going to be where all the search information goes in. So if whenever the search engine is trying to locate or sort through the web pages, this is where we're going to be adding information in there. Now the body tags are going to be where you're adding all the information that's going to be displayed on a website. So like I said, if we wanted to add in any type of element, we'll be working here. So most of this video we're going to be actually working here. Here and there we're going to jump back to head tags because to show you a couple of things what you can do. But overall, this is the basic HTML structure. So you would have a doc type that pretty much says, listen, I'm using the newest version of HTML, which is over here. Then you have 2 HTML wrappers that just specifically said, listen, I'm using the HTML. And next thing you would need is a head tags where all the information is going to go in the head. And after that, you have a body where everything that you will create for your website is going to appear in a actual web page. Now, let's go over here and let me show you a couple of neat things about brackets. So I'm going to minimize this for now. And first thing you can see that actually here is a very neat thing called live preview. So what it does is when you click it over here, it says, oh, welcome to live preview. You just click OK. And it opens right away the Chrome. And as you can see, it's completely empty. But basically what it is that it shows you in a live what you're creating on your website. And that's very actually neat. So you don't need to jump back and forth saving the file and going back. So let's just minimize this because I want to make them in the same screen. So I'm just going to maximize this over here, and I'm going to open up here. And now, as you can see, everything we'll be doing and working is going to be actually happening live. So as I'm creating something or changing on a website, you're going to right away going to see the difference. Now, like I said, like the head tag is for all the search engine information. Now, one thing that we were going to add in this video is actually title of our website. So let's say I would want to have a title that would say, don't be a sucker. So I would want this to be the name of my website. So what I would do is I would go over here and I would create these title tags. And within the title tags, I would just say, don't be a sucker. Okay? So it's not very most polite website, but however, you can see that I created a title tags, and within the title tags, I actually wrote some kind of text. And that text over here is, you can see that it's appearing on my website. So you can see that my website right now has a title, don't be a sucker. So as you can see, in order to create a title, you create a title tags, and whatever you write in between these title tags actually are showing on a web page, not the actual brackets that you write title, not the actual element that you created, but whatever you put within that element. So another thing that I would want you to realize is that every time you're working in HTML, you want to sandwich the tags in between. So let's say I wanted my title tags to appear within the head element. I need to place them within these tags, within the head tags. I cannot just willy-nilly start putting the one title tag over here and the other one somewhere in between the head and the body. It's not going to work. If you want to add something to the body or the head, the title tags need to be created, or sorry, the tags need to be created within that element that you want to work in. So now we have a nice title, "Don't Be a Sucker." Now let's start working in our body. But before that, I just want to show you that in the brackets, there's a thing called shortcuts. So let's say, or quick edits. So let's say you have this column over here where you can see these files, and it's very neat. But let's say that it gets in your way sometimes, and you're like, you know what, it's just messing up my screen. So for the Mac and for the Windows, there's actually different ways how you can do that. But for the Mac, you would have to press Command, Shift, and H, and you can see right away how that column disappears. And when I press Command, Shift, and H back, you can see that it appears again. So it's one of those quick edits. Actually, I'm gonna be probably making a playlist on all the quick edits. And since I don't want to mess with your head too much, since we're just starting with HTML, we're gonna learn a couple of them as we just go along. So let's go ahead and let's get rid of this column. And now you can see that I have my beautiful website that says "Don't Be a Sucker." And let's just, you know what, maybe it's too rude. Let's just say "Hello World," like everyone always does. So "Hello World," this is the title of my website. So now that we have learned how to create a title, let's jump to the body. Now, what would any nice website would have? It would have a heading, right? It would have some kind of title or something like that. Now, before we're going to add anything to the body, I just want to tell you a couple of things about brackets. Now, the first thing is that, let's say that you just decided that I want to write something, and then you press enter and you go to the next thing. But wait a minute, you can see over here that it still keeps everything in the same line. And I mean, it went to a different line because I made the screen smaller, but in general, you can see that I have here a line break. I created a line break. So why it is not over here? Well, the reason for that is that HTML is white space collapsing, meaning that I can create a tons and tons and tons over here line breaks, but you can see that it still would be typing in the same line. Now, the reason for that is that it just, when it looks to, however you're writing, it right away it reads it as a one big code. So unless you specifically start using the tags, which is the main purpose of this video, you will not gonna get any kind of result that you would want. So let me just delete that and let me show you the proper way. So if I would want to add a title, I would have to create a title element. So the title element would have tags, and the tags for the title would be, in this case, I'm going to create H1, but actually there's 6 sizes, and we're going to have a look at all of them. So let's say I would write over here, I'll write "Hello World" again. Okay. So now that I've created a heading 1, let me show you the other 5 options that you would have regarding headings. So I'm going to copy this, and you can see that I'm going to probably take the whole thing. But let's say that, let's go over here, and we're going to type over here that we want this to be heading 2. And then over here we would type that I would want this to be heading 3. And you can see how they're all becoming smaller and smaller. And over here I would type heading 4. And over here I would type heading 5, and over here I would type heading 6. So you have six headings. You can see that how the biggest one is the heading 1, and then you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get the idea. Every time you want to add some type of heading to your website, you would need to use one of these tags. So like again, like I said, it's very straightforward. It's not a rocket science. You basically, whatever you want to add to your website, you just need to create tags. Now let's move along. I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna maybe leave the heading, I don't know, 4 for now, and I'm gonna delete this. And you can see that live preview is not going to be updating, because you can see that it says that, you see I have a mistake here. I've left the bracket over here. So once I delete that, it actually works for you, and it shows you right away how we're working on it, and that we have a hello world as our heading. So the next thing that any website would have is actually paragraph. And I'm going to say in this paragraph, this is my first website, and my Japanese is very bad. Okay, so I don't know whether I misspelled something, but this is my first website and my Japanese is very bad. So you can see if I wanted to add a paragraph, I create a paragraph tags, and then whatever information I wanted in within that paragraph, I just wrote in between those tags. Now back to the white space collapsing, that if I, let's say if I would decide that I'd want to add like 10,000 spaces in between those two words, you can see that nothing is happening in live preview, because again, the HTML is reading this as one big file. So you can add, you can press like backspace like 10,000 times, and it's still going to work the same way. You're still going to have this one space, because the moment it sees more than one space, it still reads as one space. Now that we have the paragraph to our tag, let's move along and let's start adding something really exciting to our web page, and that's going to be an image. And I'm going to actually do it in between these two. So let's say I'm going to get a funny picture, and I'm going to write, this is me in the morning. Okay, so this is me in the morning. So if I would want to add an image to my website, I would create an image tag. So the way I would do it, I would write image, but to specifically say what type of image I would need to go and add a thing called attribute. And the way I would write it over here is I would write source. And what it pretty much says is that, listen, you know, if you want to add an image, you need to tell me where to get that image. Now there's a couple of things over here that I want to show you about brackets. So if you press again Shift Command Shift and H, so you can see all my files are appearing over here. Now, do you see that before that I had already the brackets was telling me the options of files that I can add. So there's two ways how we can add images to the website. Now the first one, we would need to go and actually find an image. So let's say I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to write funny looking people. Okay, so I don't know, we'll see which one it is. Well, which one it could be. Okay, which one do I look like in the morning? Well, I can go like this. So we find an image online, and then we right click it on an image, and you can see over here I have save image as. So what I want to do is save image as, and right away it's going to give me an option that I want to, well, let's say I'm going to call it funny. Okay, and you can see that it's going to say, oh, it's saving already as a JPEG image. So what I want to do is right away I want to choose my brackets as the folder where I want to go. So you can save it over here, and now you can see in the brackets how my funny picture right away shows up. So I could see that it is in my file. So let's close this and let's go back, and now we can see over here that my source, I need to specifically say to the browser where I want my image to appear from. So I just right click it, funny JPEG, because it gives me that option. And actually, another thing nice about brackets that you see, that gives you the preview. It gives you the preview of the image that you would want to use. So let's close this over here, and now we can see on our image that's me in the morning, and it shows in the website. Now, since you can see that that image is very big, one of the options that we can have is right away tell specifically the browser what is the size of the image. And again, this is going to be the attribute, and pretty much it just explains how the image should appear. So I'm going to say image 150 height, and we'll do the same thing with the width. So it's going to be 150 over here. And you know what? Let's just make it like 100. Or, you know what? No, let's make it 75. So I think that it's going to be, otherwise it's going to take up all our space. So we have over here 75 and 75. So we can see that we have this is me in the morning. Hello world. It's me, Johnny, here. And this is me in the morning. Now, another way how we could always add an image, which is actually in some places not covered. So let's say that I wanted to add an image. So I delete this source. And instead of using the file that I have right here in my folder, I would actually use the information that I have it from online. So let's open over here, and again we're gonna type funny looking people, but this time we're gonna pick like this dude, I guess, right? He has piercings and he has everything. I mean, maybe I do look like that in the morning. So again, we right click it, but instead of a saving image, we can actually copy image's address. Okay, so again we go back to the source and we right click it and we paste it over here, and you can see this. The unfortunate thing about it is that they're usually like this. They're usually very long. But if you in between those, if you put in between the quotation marks, it's gonna work. So let me show you. Okay, and again, because I specifically said height and width, 75, which is, I should say, pixels over here, you can see right away I still have the image and actually didn't have to save it. So it is another option how you can add images. And sometimes unfortunate that somebody's asking me, hey, listen, I know how to save the image to the computer, but how do I get it from online? And if you're going to be working in something like colspan, that's what you're going to have to do. So in this case, what I'm going to do, I want to delete the whole thing because I don't see a point of it. And we're just going to stick with the funny one because I don't want to take up too much space. We already can barely see anything. So we add source, and you can see funny JPEG, and we just close it over here. But I messed up because again the height is going to be over here. It's going to be 100, and the width is going to be 100. Okay, so now that we have that, let's move along to a couple of other things. I'm going to delete this for now, what we're working in the body, so we can still keep following along. Let me get rid of that column. So let's delete this, and I'm gonna add a couple of more things that are going to be interesting. So let's say that first thing that I would want to do is actually an ordered list, and the way you add an ordered list is you write here UL, you write a closing tag, and now you have created an ordered list. But what you need to do is within the unordered list, you need to write a list items. So you write over here the LI, which stands for list item, and you can start basically going to town over here. You can just write I am Johnny. Now, next thing that I would want to say is I want to copy this because I don't want to do too much work. And the way I can do it in the brackets, actually I can press Command D, and it's gonna copy the next line. So I can add 100 of them if I'd want. So my code is a little bit messed up right now, but the general idea is here that I can add whatever I want over here in between these brackets. So now we have a little bit of better view that we're basically, again, we're sandwiching in between these tags. So everything goes in between UL tags, and then all the ALI information you can see goes over here. So I list information. I'm Johnny. I don't speak Japanese. I love coding. And let's say another thing that I could do is I love coding and I love sleeping. So you can see that we added a nice unordered list. Now, if I would want to have an ordered list, all I would have to do, instead of UL, type OL. So over here, you have right away OL. And actually, I'm writing there 0, but it's OL. And now you can see right away it appeared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 4. So now we have created a ordered list. Now, the next thing that we would want to add to our website is actually links, because we want to go somewhere from our website. So let's say that I would want to add a link. So the way we would add links, we would have to actually create a link element. And the way we would create a link element, we write over here a, and then we have to specifically say the attribute, which would be href, is where do you want that link to be. So the first option that we're going to create, we're just going to create hashtag, which means an empty link. So whatever I'm going to write in between these tags is actually going to appear on a website. So right over here, I'm going to write hello. So now you can see that this is my link. So if I go over here and I start clicking, you can see that it's actually, when I'm hovering over, it is working. However, it's not going anywhere. Now, the next thing that I could add is actually add a link to some kind of website. So let's say I write again the link element. I write over here href. And I would write a, let's say, Google, right? But for the Google, I would need a more specific address. So I'll write HTTP. I would write a semicolon. Colon. Then I would have double forward slash. And I would write google.com. And let me just close this. And I'm going to, over here, write Google. And if I go over here, and if I right click it and I say open a new tab, you can see over here, and sure enough, it's Google. So I am working just to show you that I'm not making this up, that this is Google where we're working on. So let's close this right now. And let's look at the last thing that we could do with the link. So another way for us to use the link is actually we could link it to back to our page. So let's say that we can create a page within our page. So let's open that column right here with the files, and let's create a new file, and this is going to be our page.2 HTML. So it's going to be page within our own page. So right now you can see that it's empty and nothing is happening, and it's even right over here in live preview. Nothing's happening, but let's just copy all the information that we have over here, and we're just gonna a little bit edit it. So we paste it back, and in the title we're gonna say this is page 2. Okay, and in href again, one we're gonna have a hello, the other one we're gonna have it as a Google, and the third one, and you know what, no, let's make a heading first of all, h1, and I'm gonna say page 2, so you know that we're over here. And the next thing what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a link, an href. And over here I would write that I want my link to go back to my index page, to my original page. So I just write index over here, and I close again, and I say main. So now I'm going to be going to the main page. So let's save it over here, and let's also save it over here in the index. So the way we can save the file is actually we can go either to the file and save or click over here, but I'm using the actual quick link. I'm using the command S, so you can say you're saving it over here. Now in the index page we would want to link back to the page number 2, so we create href and we would write page over 2. So I close this out and I would write a page number 2. Okay, so we have saved all this, and for some reason it's not showing on a live preview, so let's jump back over here. So now we can see that this is our main one. So if we open up in a new link, you can see over here, and now we have page 2. If we go from page 2, we can actually go to page 2. So with live preview it's a little bit messed up that it would be a little bit different if we're just saving the file, but you get the idea that it's actually, I can right click it over here and it takes me to the page number 2. And if I'm in hello world in our index page, but if I'm in a page 2, if I right click it over here, I actually go back to our index page, our main page. So let's again create h1 over here, and we're gonna say main page. So let's just make this a little bit bigger, and now we have the main page over here, and I'll save this, and we have a hello world where is the main page, and we have the another one, but that's not the one. So we will go over here, we open up, and this is page 2, and we have page 2 over here, the headings. Okay, now because I want to make this a one video, we're not going to be covering more. There's more elements that you can actually work with, and I have the actual already playlist on it. So what I would want to do is right now I would want to focus to the styling of how to style elements on your website. So now guys that we have a pretty basic website that has one link to it, that has a picture of me in the morning, that this is my first website, we need to add some style to our website. So the way we can add that style to our website is actually we use cascading style sheets. And the way we access the cascading style sheets or CSS, we actually need to create a tags in our head element that would say style, and I close it out. And then you can see over here that I have 2 style tags right now. And in between these style tags, we were going to actually start accessing all our elements in the page, and we're going to start changing them. So let's say the first thing that I would want to do is I would want to change my heading over here. I would want to give it some background. So the way I would do it, I would select the heading, and you can see the name of the element was h3, so I'm selecting the same over here, and I would write these curly brackets, and now everything in between the brackets, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be styling them. So let's say, so the first thing that I would want to style is the background, right? So I'd write background, and as you're writing here in the brackets, it gives you all these things that you can do with your background. So I'm going to change right now, I'm going to choose background color. And again, it gives you tons of options. And that's the nice thing about brackets, that you don't, in different text editor, you might need to start looking for the colors and doing all kinds of things. Here you can just type whatever you want, and you put a semicolon, and this is the syntax. So this is what you're choosing as a property, and this is the property value. And you right away can see in our live preview that this is my first website, and it has nice coloring on the back. So this is the basic of CSS. This is whatever you're going to be doing. You're choosing the tags, and then you just keep on adding the whatever properties that you want to change. So let's say I would want add a border, and I could just write border, and I could put colon over here, and then I could write 2 pixel solid black. Okay, and now I can see right away I have the solid black. Let's say I wanted to have a rounded border. Again, I would write just the property, and I would say border radius, and I would say 10 pixels. And you can see right away it appeared rounded. So you just keep on adding whatever properties you want to change, and you just keep going down the list. Now, before we're going to change another elements, I want to show you that this is one way how you can do that with style. But what's happening though, you're affecting only one page. If you would want to create if you have, let's say, 300-400 pages on your website, what you would want to do is you would want to actually access that web page just with one style file. So the way we would do that is I'm actually going to cut this, so we get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of these style tags, and now you can see my style disappeared because browser doesn't have that. So let's go back over here and let's show that column again. And now you can see that we have page HTML and index HTML, right? So we have two pages, and we want to affect them both with the same styling. So what we would need to do is we would need to create here a new file, and I would call it stylesheet CSS, and you can see it's blank over here, but I'm telling the browser this is going to be styling file. So what I do is I paste this back, and what I would need to do is I have created this h3, and it's the same, but you can see that nothing is happening right now. It is because the index, but just let me save this, but the index doesn't know where to look for its styling. So what would you need to do is create links relationship over here, and it would be style sheet. And let me just make it big, a little bit bigger over here. Then the next thing you would want to add is type, text CSS. And the third thing that you would want to add is actually where you're getting the style from. So you'd write href, and in this case it's going to be funny style sheets. Okay, so and then what you need to do is you close out, and then you can see right away it got actually the styling from the style sheet that we created. So this would be the external style sheet. The first we created the style within our page, but it's not good because every time we want to actually deal with the kind of changes, we would actually need to go back to that web page and make those changes. And in this case, the way we created, we are affecting all our pages. So just to show you that it works, let's go to page over 2, and you can see that we have h1. So let's let's paste this over here, but since we have not the wrong one, actually need to go over here, and we need to copy this and go to page 2 and paste this, and now we have a link type style sheet. So what we do is over here we save everything, but because I'm affecting h1, it doesn't have h3, nothing is getting changed. So let me go back over here, and in the index over here, let's change it to h3, and you'll see what's going to happen. And you can see that everything changed on h3. Now again, what you need to do is you go over here, and then you just going to town. You would basically write a whatever selector you would want to use, and whatever the element you would use, everything you would write in a style sheet over here, and you would keep affecting. So let's go back to the index. What we have, you can see that we have an image, right? So let's go to our style sheet, and we would write image, because now we're affecting the actual image. And we go over here and we write, well, I would want my image to have a background color over here, and let's say we wanted to add a Greensboro, right? So we go over here and we have this nice little small padding. Now, the next thing that we want to do is actually add a padding over here. So let's say we want to add a padding, and that would be 3 pixels over here. And you can see over here how the padding is being added on my image all around. So let's say make it like 10 pixels so we can see better, and now we have a padding. Now, this is the basics of CSS and HTML and how it works. Again, if we want to cover more in this video, we would actually I'm gonna have to create a actual playlist for that. This is the very basics, and again, I was going over hectic about some stuff because it is one video and I don't want it to be too long. I hope you guys enjoyed some of it at least, and I hope that I'm gonna have a time to actually create a playlist where I'm gonna go one by one over these things. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.